Well, welcome back to City News, and with us again tonight is our resident optometrist Tony Bland. Tony, good to see you again.
Hey, how's it going? Good to see you.
So, tonight, cataract.
Yep.
What is it?
Well, cataract is reasonably common, so I thought it'd be one good thing to talk about. It's something that occurs more frequently as you're older, so it's not something that's going to concern younger people necessarily, but it can cause symptoms that could easily be confused with other things. So I'd like to kind of talk about it to clarify about it.
Okay then, so just straight to the point, what's cataract?
So what happens is there's a lens behind your iris that you can't actually see from the outside of your eye. It's normally quite clear, like a little cocktail lens in your eye, if you like. And what happens in a cataract is parts of it lose its structure, if you like. Its structure becomes less regular and it loses its clarity as a result. So a good analogy, it becomes like a dirty windscreen on the car. So some of the details can start to get a little hazy or fuzzy. And what happens often, if you think of like a dirty windscreen, is that often people who have it can become more sensitive to the glare and have issues with lighting and things like that as well. So that's basically what occurs in the eye.
Okay, so cataract, how can you tell if you've got it?
Basically, the best way is to have an eye exam. There are several things that can cause the type of symptoms you get. So like I mentioned, if you imagine it can get a little fuzzy with the details for close tasks and for your general vision, or if you're sensitive to the glare, there are other things that can cause that. So what we always say to people first of all is you can have those symptoms with other eye conditions, so it's important not to self-diagnose. So what we suggest is people have an eye check first just to make sure things are okay, and then we can talk to them about what might be happening with their eyes, if there are other things happening instead.
So what can be confused with cataract?
Just even simple things like your eyes being out of focus or the eyes being dry can make you sensitive to the glare as well. Yep. And other conditions like allergic eyes and so on too can make you sensitive to the glare and lights. So we just want to differentiate between those and make sure things are okay. And
treatment. So what are the processes with cataract once you know you've got it?
Well, the main point about cataract is not all will need removing. It's more common in the 70s and 80s, so nearly everyone in their 70s and 80s has a little bit of fuzziness to that lens, but they don't necessarily have any symptoms at all. So if we see there's maybe a little bit of fuzziness there, we'll talk to people about it and show them how they can examine themselves in terms of just watching their vision, and we'll just perhaps have an eye check a little more frequently and keep a watch on things. And then if it gets to the stage where it's starting to get in the way of the things they like to do, so in other words they're having a bit of trouble with reading or general vision and we can't help with the sort of normal optical things, then we'll be looking at referring them to an eye surgeon who can look at removing the cataract when the time comes. And that's the main point we always say to people is that the process of having a cataract removed is simple and straightforward. Basically just have a local anaesthetic so you don't actually feel anything, of course, while the surgeons are removing the cataract, and the lens can actually be quite easily removed out of the eye, and the surgeons replace it with a new plastic lens inside.
A plastic?
Yep. So they put in basically, effectively, you imagine like they're putting a spectacle lens sort of inside the eye, and they can actually, it's really clever what they do, is they can actually really carefully take quite precise measurements of the eyeball and often correct your vision while you're at it. So often people who needed glasses beforehand for particularly general vision often don't afterwards, because they can choose the power of the lens they put inside your eye and make it nice and clear afterwards too. So it makes a significant difference for people.
And it's really not that painful to have the operation done?
No, the process is really straightforward, and the surgeons are excellent at it. They have lots of experience and training and make you feel comfortable about the process too. So often we're involved in from our end in more of the preliminary checking and referring people to specialists when they're ready for surgery, and then after they've had the cataract removed, just doing some of the follow-up checks and making sure things are okay. But the process is really easy.
So what are the best steps to, say, either avoid or keep control of what's going on with your eyes and avoiding cataract?
Well, the main two common things are that have been shown to be really strongly linked is smoking and UV exposure. So the main thing is over a lifetime is minimising the amount of UV you're exposed to, so using sunglasses and so on, and not smoking if you do, considering stopping. And to some extent, age you can't do anything about. So sure, it's more common as you get older, And those are just things that are just addressed when the time comes, you know.
So it's quite rare to get cataract for, say, someone my age?
Absolutely it is, yeah. It's not impossible because some cataracts do occur as a result of some medical conditions, for example, like diabetes, and some medications, and often maybe if there's been an injury to the eye, yeah, that's where cataracts can occur at a younger age, but those aren't too common for sure.
So the point is, look after your eyes, get them checked as much as you can and avoid cataract, or at least keep control of maybe what's going on.
Yeah, exactly, yep.
Absolutely excellent. Thanks very much for coming in once again, Tony. Great to see you.
Thanks.
And after the break, we're talking road safety messages outside schools with Sergeant Denton Grimes.